Hello YouTube, Josh here with the channel ZZZ Giant Awake. And now we're at the point in the Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton mashup that I kind of miss some of the old candidates, like Lincoln Chafee. Do you remember Lincoln Chafee? He said this.
I'm very proud that over my almost 30 years of public service, I have had no scandals.
I actually laughed out loud at that point when I heard him say that, but boy, that was a valid point. Kind of missed the guy. But we're not here to talk about Chafee. We're here to talk about Ted motherfucking Cruz and his political miscalculations. Again. So Ted Cruz, Republican politician who ran for president. Many of you know who he is, and most of you may be familiar with certain aspects of the story, but I think it's hilarious when you lay it all out all at once. If you saw my last video on Ted Cruz and his political calculations, you would remember that he didn't endorse Donald Trump. He decided to pretend that he was a principled conservative and not support him. Fast forward to September 23rd, 2016, approximately 2.5 weeks ago, he came out with this statement on Facebook. This election is unlike any other in our nation's history. Like many other voters, I have struggled to determine the right course of action in this general election. In Cleveland, I urge voters, please don't stay home in November, stand and speak, and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket whom you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to our Constitution. After many months of careful consideration and of prayer and searching of my own conscience, I have decided that on Election Day, I will vote for Republican nominee Donald Trump. I've made this decision for two reasons. First, last year I promised to support the Republican nominee, and I intend to keep my word. Second, even though I have had areas of significant disagreement with our nominee, by any measure, Hillary Clinton is wholly unacceptable, and that's why I've always been never Hillary. He continues on with why he's never Hillary, and he closes with this. Our country is in crisis. Hillary Clinton is manifestly unfit to be president, and her policies would harm millions of Americans. And Donald Trump is the only thing standing in her way. A year ago, I pledged to endorse the Republican nominee, and I am honoring that commitment. And if you don't want to see a Hillary Clinton presidency, I encourage you to vote for him. Now, also from my last video, you remember that that wasn't the real reason he decided that he wasn't going to endorse Donald Trump. It was because he's a petty little bitch. Donald Trump, at different points in the presidential candidacy, he said that he was going to spill the beans on Ted Cruz's wife, and he also retweeted a picture of Ted Cruz's wife compared to Melania Trump, in which her hair was a mess. It was probably a windy day, but she was not looking at her finest compared to Melania Trump, who's a model and was ready in model garb. And then he also talked about how Ted Cruz's father may have been somewhat associated or completely associated with the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Insane! And those are understandable reasons for not supporting Donald Trump. But he pretended like he was a conservative. And he somehow tricked a bunch of conservatives into believing that he was a principled conservative and didn't calculate. And here is Glenn Beck's meltdown based on that premise.
And for the very first time, I heard Ted Cruz calculate. And when that happened, the whole thing fell apart for me. And it's my fault. It's my fault for believing that men can actually be George Washington. It's my fault. I should have said, you know who can win? You know who could beat Hillary Clinton? Marco Rubio. And I disagree with him on the Gang of Eight, and there's about 80% that I do agree with him on. And he's kind of a politician, but he's a different kind of politician. He's a young politician. He's a Hispanic. He can win. Let's go for it. Instead, I said, let's find a truly honorable man. And that will always let you down. Right now, we have become PETA. Shame on all of us. Why not just, if you won't vote for Hillary or you won't vote for Trump, why not just cover me in a bucket of blood? Why not just shame me in the public square? Why not run them out of business? They're climate deniers. There is no difference between the two teams anymore. Oh, sure, one's for a little lower taxes, one's for the border, one's not. One's for international rule, one's for national rule. Which one is for the idea that all men are created equal? That all men have a right to pursue their own happiness and make their own goddamn decision? Which one? Which one? I contend neither of them. And so we will just soak each other in buckets of blood. We'll be a happy little bumper sticker community that shames one another into make sure you walk in goose step with all the other Hillary supporters or walk in goose step with all the other Trump supporters because she's going to mean the destruction of America. No, no, says the Hillary supporter. You must vote for us because he means the destruction of America. I contend they both mean the destruction of the idea.
Oh, the humanity of making Glenn Beck go on a rant. Oh, it's hilarious. But Ted Cruz, because he's a good little Republican bitch, decided that he was going to phone bank. And he looked so depressed doing it. Like, it's seriously a sad video. From that video, he had some very sad-looking freeze frames, and it's sad that he has the Trump-Pence posters in the background, so the internet does what the internet does. And here are some tweets. 15 days after Ted Cruz decides to fold and endorse Donald Trump, instead of at the RNC, when it might have been a good idea, the Trump tape breaks. Now, if you haven't heard the Trump tape, let me just quickly read to you what he said. And this is Donald Trump talking to Billy Bush. Nobody knows who the fuck Billy Bush is. Really, he's some fucking C-class celebrity who doesn't matter in the long run of anything. Even though it is kind of funny to note how a conversation between Bush and Trump might be what ruined Trump's career. It's ruined by a Bush. Not my own joke, but it's a fun irony. But Trump said this. I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down on Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I admit it. I did try and fuck her. She was married. No, Nancy, no. This was unintelligible. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get furniture, and I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. And I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there. And she was married. Then all of a sudden I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look. He continues. Yeah, that's her, with the gold. I better use some Tic Tac just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. Just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy, you can do anything. Now, that's Donald Trump's disgusting words, and I don't really need to delve into why that sentiment towards women is absolutely wretched and disgusting. But I want to refocus back on Ted Cruz because his tweet was totally Ted Cruzian. On October 9th, Ted Cruz sends out this tweet. NBC had tape 11 years. Apprentice producer says they have more and worse. So why not release in 2015? In March. Why wait until October? Hashtag MSM bias. Oh, that's so sad for Ted Cruz. He couldn't beat Donald Trump on merits of his candidacy and the platform he was running on. He got his ass kicked by a candidate who is mere rhetoric. And now he's crying about it on Twitter to the public. Oh no, is Ted Cruz sad? Sorry if you found me obnoxious in this video, but thank you for watching. Leave comments in the comment section. You know the rest.